Verbling. My name is Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and this hour we're talking about present and past perfect. It'll be kind of a review for people who already have talked a little bit about it. If you're a first timer, we can go slow, but it will be tough because we're packing a lot of information into a short period. Ana Carolina, welcome to class.
Hello, Michaela. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm happy to be in your class.
Happy to have you. Are you going back to work? Or did you already go back to work?
Sorry?
The last time I talked to you, I think you were taking some time off work for an injury.
I've been working a lot. It was a long time ago. Long time no see.
Yeah, it has been a long time.
Yes, it was a pity that your connection dropped.
Oh, yes. I was so mad. It wasn't my connection. I had problems with Google the last class that I was supposed to do, and I was so mad because my Google Chrome stopped responding for maybe like 4 minutes, and by the time it came back, the class was deleted and I couldn't get to it anymore. I don't know if that's a new thing that Verbling is doing or if it was just a glitch, but I got in like, it was like 4 minutes past the hour and I was like, okay, I can still do a lot of class time, and I couldn't find the class anymore. It wasn't on my list and it wasn't on the schedule, so I couldn't enter it.
It was a pity because it seemed really interesting.
I'm going to reschedule that class probably for maybe tomorrow or Thursday, so keep an eye out. Probably tomorrow.
Okay, if you do that, please, after 5 p.m.
Okay, that shouldn't be hard because for me, I think you guys are 5 hours ahead of me now.
It's 7 p.m. now.
All right, yeah, I'll reschedule
What time is there?
tomorrow.
What time is there?
2 o'clock. You guys are 5 hours ahead.
So after
12.
midday for you. Yes.
Yep, shouldn't be hard. All right, let me welcome a few other students. Sylvia, welcome to class.
Hi.
Hi, Sylvia. Good to meet you. Where are you from?
I'm from Barcelona, Spain.
Awesome. Good to have you in class with us. Give me some class ideas. I asked in a few of the last classes, but Sylvia, is there anything you want to see on the Verbling schedule in the next week or so?
I'm really interested in any topics of conversation, mainly.
Yeah, that's a pretty common request. I guess it's a good opportunity to practice, and I'll definitely make sure to include some more conversation classes in the upcoming week. How about Rania? Am I saying your name right? Rania? Rania? I can't hear you unless you're not recognizing my poor pronunciation of your name. Ooh, role play. Good suggestions, Ana Carolina. We got role play. I love role play. So role play and conversation, sarcasm in English. How about Jose? Any suggestions for future classes, what you'd like to see?
Yes, role play. I like role plays.
Awesome. So you're down with role play as well?
Yes.
Any particular topic you'd like to see role played?
No, I don't have any specific topic in mind now.
All right. If you think of one, let me know. And Rania, are you there? I can't hear you still, unless you're not saying anything. All right, Fabio, how about you? Welcome to class, and what are some topics you'd like to see on Verbling in the future? Fabio, are you there? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, good. I mean, unfortunate for Fabio, but at least my connection is all right. I'll come back to you, Fabio. Sine? Is that how I say your name?
Hello, nice to meet you, teacher.
Good to meet you too. Did I pronounce that all right, or how would you pronounce it?
Yes, Shine. My name is Shine.
Awesome. And where are you from?
I'm from South Korea in Asia.
Very cool. Do you have any requests for class topics?
I like role playing, connected game.
Games?
Yes.
Cool. I'll definitely have to do a couple game classes. Those are always fun. All right. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you, teacher.
Carmen, welcome to class.
Hi, Michaela. Hi, everybody.
Good to have you with us. Tell us what you'd like to see in future Verblin classes.
I'm not particularly interested in anything specific. I like everything.
Awesome.
Whatever you do.
You're easy to please.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Carmen.
You're welcome.
Amr, what would you like to see? Amr, are you there?
Yes, teacher. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What class topics would you like to see in the future?
Actually, I like to see three things. First of all, everyday English situations. For example, what native speaker can do at the bank and at the airport and the grocery store. In everyday situation at the street, and the another thing, vocabulary. I need to increase my vocabulary so we can play. Maybe we can play games like, for example, family vocab, words that always get together.
Awesome. Definitely.
And the third one, pronunciations.
Pronunciation. Popular one. All right. Thanks, Amr. Anna Carolina, do you have anything to add? You said role play, games. Was there anything else?
I would love to have a class about sarcasm in English. And teacher, I believe that role plays and games won.
Yeah, that's a common one today. Everyone's agreeing here. That makes it
Those
easy.
kinds of classes are the nicest. We love games and role plays.
Yeah, it's an easy, stress-free way to learn, for sure. Okay. And Elizabeth, welcome to class. Elizabeth, are you there? Uh-oh, let's go back to a couple of the others. I believe Rania was also having audio trouble. Rania, are you there? Or Jose? No? Audio trouble day? Maybe it's a technology fail day. If you guys aren't sure what the problem is, definitely check your microphone, unplug, replug, check the thing at the top, probably somewhere around here, I don't know. It'll let you choose which microphone you're using, so check the settings at the top and your microphone itself, and maybe your computer settings. All of those things can make your audio a little wonky. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat box, or if you want to make any comments, you're welcome to participate by using the chat box. Okay, so let's get started. We're talking about present and past perfect. Hopefully you guys have already seen this a little bit, because it's a lot of info to get in just one class. But let me ask Sylvia to tell us a little bit about what you know about the present perfect.
Well, the present perfect has mainly maybe two parts. One is with an auxiliary verb, and the other one is the main verb. It's been such a long time. I don't study grammar, so I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, no, that's a good start. We have multiple verbs that help to make the structure of present perfect, and that makes it tricky because you have to worry about a few different things instead of just a quick ending. Definitely. All right, let's get a little bit more information. Luca, welcome to class. Are you there, Luca? There is an audio problem with a lot of people today. Luca, I'm hoping it's just temporary. Like I was advising the other students, check your microphone, check your computer, check your settings up at the top to make sure they're all right. And of course, let me know if you've got any questions. Sometimes, guys, it just doesn't load right and you have to reload it. So you can also just try that. Click the reload, and a lot of times that does solve the problem. Could have just not loaded properly. How about Sine? Can you tell us a little bit more about the present perfect?
Present perfect is used by some event, the past, and continued effect until now.
Yeah, exactly. It has some kind of tie to the present. So started in the past until now, or some kind of other tie, and we'll talk about more details of this. But that's an important part. That's why we call it the present perfect, even though it's really a past tense, but it talks about a period of time that's tied to the present. Thank you very much. Carmen, anything else you want to add about the present perfect? Any other information you think is important to know about it?
I think someone just pointed out before, just the formation, you get to use an auxiliary verb and then the past participle.
Yep, exactly. Auxiliary and past participle. Good terms to know if you're really trying to study grammar and form. All right, Ana Carolina, let's switch things up. Tell me a little bit about the past perfect, whatever you know or can think of.
Oh, teacher. Oh my gosh. The past perfect. Why didn't you ask me about the present?
Do you have something to say for the present perfect? If you feel like you have like really good knowledge.
It's because it's a bit more difficult. Okay, when you have two actions in the past and one before another, you use the past perfect.
Definitely, that's one of the situations.
But this one is much more difficult than the present perfect.
Yeah, it can be tougher, and the situation is not as common too, so we don't get as much practice with it, which I think is why a lot of people think it's trickier, because we just don't use it as frequently. And it's easy to get around. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Amr, anything else you wanted to add about the present perfect or past perfect?
Yes, maybe about the present perfect. Present perfect is the tense that you've done something and you still have an effect about it. Or maybe the action that you have done recently and still has effect. And the past perfect, like Karina said, it is the first action in the past. So if you have a story in the past, maybe the first action was in the present perfect, and then you can continue your study with past simple or using past continuous. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Amr. And Vincenzo, welcome to class. It has been so long.
Yes, yes, yes. I see you. Then this is a long time that I don't see you. We have not seen it.
How are you?
Yes, yes. It seems different from the first time that I know you. That look different. Yes.
Yeah, it was a long time ago that we met. My
Maybe that you are more
internet
that you are slimmer than before. That yes, more slimmer now than before.
Really?
Yes.
Isn't that noticeable? Because I think that's true, but I don't notice that on myself. Like everyone is like, "Oh, you lost weight," and I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah. Yes. Because when I open Verbally, normally I see your lesson, no? But your face is very. It's not like in this moment, no? It's it seemed that you were very well fatter than yeah, or no? Good.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right because I think. Well, I'm not sure. I definitely have been working out more now, just as a
Yes.
hobby.
I don't know which time was that lesson that I saw that I see normally in Verbing at the beginning. In which time it was made?
I think I met you like a couple years ago. Maybe not. Maybe not
A
2
couple,
years
2
ago.
years, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it could be 2 years ago.
Yes, but it's good now, no? Because I think you are good in this way. That
Working out, getting
I wish
strong.
I wish I were in the same, no? But yeah, I must lose some weight now. Yes, my weight is 95 kilos now.
I don't even
Right
know
now.
what kilos mean. I don't know how many kilos I am.
Yes, yes. I don't know in inch. No, I got this in inches. No, I don't know.
Pounds.
Pound.
So,
No.
tell us, Vincenzo, we've been talking about the present and past perfect.
Pound.
Is there any other information you'd like to add?
No? What about? I don't know.
We've been talking about the present and past perfect.
Present perfect. Yes, no. In my opinion, yes, the present perfect is used when you could be also an action that it is referred in a year, 2 years, or 3 years. I can say, for example, in this year I have been studying. I've studied English many times. No.
Excellent example. Exactly.
Yes, it's not very appropriate to say in the recent past because this recent past could be also a year. Yes, but yes, normally I can say yes, it's true, no? Because generally we say this morning I have breakfast. I no. I have been breakfast, something like this, no?
You could say I had had breakfast before leaving the house.
Yes, yes. This morning, this week, this year, but yes, I think that can be used in this way when you refer to a period, also referred to this time, no? Also in this time, this year, yes, or yes, and it could be a short period also, but also a week, a year, something like this. Yes.
Awesome.
I don't know after. I don't know if there is another case, some other case in order to use the
We'll
present
get to a few of those today, for sure. I have a document I'm about to screen share. And before I do that, I'm going to ask Luca to write the answer to something in the chat box since his mic is not working. Luca, we talked a little bit about the present perfect and the past perfect, but what other perfect tenses exist? We're not going to talk a lot about them today, but there are a couple other tenses or modifications that use the perfect as well. So Luca, let us know in the chat box. And while you're thinking, I'm going to screen share the notes. So we're going to get some good visuals today, a couple explanations, and if you guys have any questions, you're so welcome to ask. So if you get a little confused, just pause or let me know in the chat box and I'll address your questions. Okay, we've got, oh, I can't highlight it. The first graph here, where we've got the X, and this thing represents this top sentence. And I wish I could highlight it, but I can't. So how about, Amr, would you read that first sentence or two sentences that explain parts of the present perfect?
Sure. We use the present perfect for actions in the past which have a connection to the present. The time when these actions happened is not important.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher, can I add something?
Yeah.
Actually, about my experience about the present perfect, my suggestions is don't study how to form a present perfect, or don't study the tense. My suggestion that you have to learn how native speaker use that tense, because for me I had a lot of problem about this tense, but once I read a lot of phrases and know how to use present perfect, it becomes really easy for me.
Yeah, it becomes second nature if you practice enough. That's totally true. So sometimes it's good to get like some basic info and then just get out there and try it as many times as possible, make mistakes, and know that it will be okay, because that's a good learning process.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Amr. Next graph, which also talks about the present perfect, but a slightly different situation. Let's have Anna Carolina read that one for us. It's short.
We use the present perfect for recently completed actions.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Should I?
No, you're good. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Yes, exactly. So this one is kind of interesting because even though it might not necessarily continue up until this moment, it has a tie to the future. This one kind of confuses students sometimes because we usually think of the present perfect as something that started in the past and continues until now. That's kind of the standard definition of present perfect. But there are some situations, like Amr said, where it isn't necessarily really strict, and it might not be up until now. So this is a good one that you can study when native speakers use it, so you kind of get the feel for it. But if you guys are curious, an example would be something like, I have just finished my test. So I have just finished my test. Would be a good example. Go ahead.
Maybe I have read 2 books this week.
Okay, yeah, that's good. And those are non-specific times and something that's completed in the past, really, but it has a tie until now. It has some kind of tie to the present, which is why we use the present perfect. We're going to come up with some examples for this in a minute as well. So if you're a little bit unsure that you understand it, we'll get some practice. Let's read the last one, or the last one we're going to talk about for present perfect. How about Carmen? Will you read that one for us, the third graph?
Okay, we use the present perfect for actions beginning in the past and still continuing.
Excellent. So hopefully these graphs help you a little bit visualize exactly what it's supposed to be. This one is an on-off pattern, continuing until now, and very possibly in the future. It's sort of unknown if it will continue into the future, but most of the time it does, it will. I might say I have been taking English lessons for 5 years, and frequently we're talking about something that will continue into the future, even though it's not explicitly stated. So do you guys have any questions on these 3 graphs or situations? Nothing so far?
No, teacher, I'm thinking that the confusing thing is that we always think about a recent past, no, in order to use this tense, but it's not so. Not in this way, no. The past could be also very far, no, from here.
Yeah, Definitely. It depends. You can use this in a lot of ways. You can talk about something from history, like hundreds of years ago, or you can talk about something very recently.
Yes, because it's very simple to say from the past. No, but the past, I guess you have to consider that could be also a very far. No, yes, okay, I can say.
Yes.
Yes,
Important note.
Yes.
All right. So we have some time expressions with the present perfect. These are time expressions frequently used, and it's not written particularly well. So if you stumble, don't worry about it. Sine, will you read a little bit about the time expressions?
Yes, since with a specific year or a period in the past, since 2002, since I was a child, for with a number of years, for 20 years, ever and yet, in questions and negatives, have you ever, hasn't it been yet, already and never, just between have, has and the verb, has already finished, have just been. Before, since, for, already, many times so far, yet. At the end of the sentence or questions, have you been there before?
Excellent. Thank you. So we're going to talk a little bit more about adverbs later, but just so you know, they go between the have or has and the verb. That's their most frequent location, especially for things like already and never. All right, do you guys have any questions about those vocabulary words?
And teacher, can you explain more about ever? Ever can be used in the present, right?
No, because it's not talking about, unless you use it in a different form like forever, right? Because ever comes from the same place where never is the negative of forever. Or sorry, negative is the negative, can't talk. Never is the negative of ever. So ever is a little more open-ended, but because ever includes a non-specific period of time, it's really never going to be used just in the present with the present tense, like I ever cook pancakes on Monday or something like that. You can't use it with routine or anything like that. Does that answer your question? Was there a specific example you were thinking of?
How about this one? Do you ever go fishing?
That actually is a pretty good example. When you're using it in a question, you can sometimes use it for routine and or experiences, because the person will answer in the present perfect or past perfect, like, no, I've never been fishing, or yeah, I've been once or twice. So you can use it in question form sometimes as a helpful thing, because you're talking about whether it has happened, even though you're talking about, because you don't know if it's happened yet, so you can't use the present perfect until you get the answer to that question. That's a good example. Good point.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions, guys, on this vocabulary or the timelines before we try out some examples?
No.
All right.
A question.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the use of ever or never, but it could be possible to eliminate, no, because the use of the present perfect also means that it's something that happens till now. Have you studied? Have you ever studied English or at school? Or it would be possible to say, have you studied English at school? Because it's a period, no? It's the same from a certain period in the past from till now. Why to use a have? I don't know, something strange.
You're right. We don't necessarily use it in every question that has to do with the present perfect, but it's a good way to sort of stress your meaning. So although it's not necessary, you could say, oh, have you eaten lunch yet? Or I guess that's not a good one because it doesn't work the other way. Have you turned 14 yet? Or have you ever had a 14th birthday or something like that? That's kind of a funky example. My brain's not working really well right now. But yeah, you can use it without, and it just stresses it a little bit more and makes it more emphatic. That's the only difference.
For example, if I say, for example, have you been to Italy? No. Why have to say, have you ever been to Italy? No.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great example.
Yes, but no, it's something that I like, as you say, to stress the question, no? The question. Have you ever been to Italy? Yes.
And we have a good question in the chat box. Ana Carolina wants to know if we can use both. And the first example, no. So the first example is, have you never ever? No, we never say that. But never have I ever is actually a game. Have you ever heard of that, Ana Carolina? Never have I ever?
No.
So it's not strictly by the rules correct English, but it is a common use for kids in this particular game. And you say, never have I ever, and then you say something like, never have I ever skied, or something like that. And then what happens, and maybe I'll include this in a game day once, but you put up 5 fingers, and someone says, never have I ever been skiing. And everyone goes around, and if they have been skiing, they put down a finger. And if they haven't been skiing, they leave up a finger. And the goal is to keep all your fingers up. So the winner would have the most fingers when everyone else is out. So it's kind of funny. Like I said, it's not a super common use. It's not technically correct, but you do sometimes hear it. Never have I ever. And then an action. All right. Okay, so I think we're ready for example sentences, right? And one more note that I wanted to make is the only time we'll use a specific date is if you're using since. So with present perfect, use since if you want to use a specific date. Otherwise, you can go for a period of time or unspecified, or use some other adverb. Okay, so I want everyone to try out one sentence of each and try to number them so I know where they are, 1, 2, and 3. That way I know which one I'm looking at and I know if it's a good example of that specific one. Do you guys have any questions? I'm going to ask you to write these in the chat box, and I'm looking at both the Google and the Verbling chat box, so no need to worry if you only have access to one.
I have no questions, but could you show the screen?
Can you see my screen share?
Yes, but I cannot see all.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Let me see if I can do something about that. So you guys will have a few minutes to work. I'm going to try and make this a little smaller so you can get all the graphs in one shot. How's that? Is that better? At least you can get a little bit of each?
No, just 3. Can you make it smaller?
You want me to make the screen smaller? Why?
Because I want to see the all examples.
She means zoom out.
All right, I'll zoom out a little bit farther. I don't know if you'll be able to read it anymore then, but I can zoom out farther. So, is this a little better? I'm going to have trouble getting it all in one screen exactly, but you have at least more of it. Is that good? You guys should also be able to access this document on the class page. It should be a blue link below where you saw there was a little black box. Let me look to make sure that that's... Yeah, it's there. So under class materials, it says present and past perfect document. You should be able to download that pretty quickly and easily, if that helps. Is this good enough, Ana Carolina, or do you need more? If I make it any smaller, I don't think you're going to be able to read it.
No, it is great. I opened the document. Thank you.
Okay, all right, good. Make it a little smaller. Okay. All right, guys, get to work. If you have any questions while you're working, definitely ask me. And if you guys are having trouble accessing this document, let me know. I can always send it to you individually or try to put it in the class page again. So you guys are making one example for each.
Teacher, can you scroll down a little bit?
Sure. So you guys are going to lose this top graph, but that's the one that has a connection to the present, and the time of the action is not important. So as long as you guys can remember that, that one's gone. You guys are probably already done with the first one anyways. And I'll give you an example of that first one too, because sometimes people are not totally sure how the first one is very different from the second one. But the first one would be talking about an experience that I have had. So I have been to Italy, like to use Vincenzo's example. That's something that's happened, but the time is not important. And it has a connection to the present because it's an experience that I permanently have. And the second one we talked about was where it's finished and done, but so recently that it connects strongly to the present. So I've just finished the test, meaning like, oh, woo, finished. I can relax. I've just finished the test. And that gives you a little bit of meaning in the present, even though the action is already finished. Whenever you're ready, you can put your sentences in the chat boxes, but there's no rush. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes. As soon as we get enough, I'll start reading them and we can discuss a little. All right, so let's start reading some of the ones that we already have and keep working, keep trucking if you still have a sentence or two to make. The first ones I see are great. They're not quite in order, so I imagine you just did them out of order. That's fine too. Number one, I have seen that movie 6 times in the last month. That is a great example of the last graph, the third graph. And then I have had a cold for 2 weeks is a great example of, wait a second. Actually, we can switch these around. I have had a cold for 2 weeks. It's kind of like the second one. So as long as it's over, though, which I don't think it is. So that was kind of more like an example of the third one as well. Though it doesn't really matter. As long as it's a correct sentence, it doesn't matter if you did exactly one of each. We're just doing this for practice. And then the last one, I have been to France, is a perfect example of the very first graph.
Teacher?
Yeah.
Can I say my sentence verbal because I'm using my mobile phone and I can write?
Go ahead. Give us your sentences if you're ready.
Okay. The first sentence, I have watched 2 movies this week. And the second one, I have just eaten my dinner. The third one, I have worked at the bank since 2013.
All right, that's pretty good. Well done. I like all your sentences. Your sentences are perfectly grammatically correct, and they're pretty good examples of each of those graphs. Thank you very much, Amar. And I'm continuing to read from the Google chat, and I'll switch over to the Verbling chat in just a minute. I see a couple from Ana Carolina. I've been having car sickness since I was a child. Okay. I would probably say I have had car sickness since I was a child. You can make it progressive. Well, yeah, we never actually went over that. Let's look at the Verbling chat. Oh, I asked the student to do this, but I don't see it. So we can, we can, of course, make each of these examples progressive as well. And the only other tense that has to do with perfect is the future perfect. And I talked about this a little in the beginning of class. I wanted somebody to let me know what the other perfect tenses were, and they are continuous and the future perfect. But we won't talk about that too much right now. I would just say I wouldn't make that continuous. I have had car sickness because it's kind of like if you're talking about a disease. I've had cancer for 4 years or something like that. It's not exactly something that you're doing. It's sort of a state. You have it. Number 2, I have been studying English for over a year, but on Verbling since March. Great. Wonderful. Oh, and there's over more. I have already attended 2 classes. Excellent. And that one seems like, let's see, seems like the third graph for that first sentence. And I've already attended 2 classes today. That one is kind of like the second graph. And the last set I see, I have been to the US 5 times before. Perfect first graph. I've already finished my sentences, teacher. Second graph. And Sine has, with an S, already lucked out by reading a lot. Yes, excellent. Well done. Okay, next set. I have downloaded the document. Perfect, that's like the second one. I have just finished my coffee. Again, like the second one. I imagine that's a typo. I have taught English for more than 10 years, and that's certainly the third one. And I guess the first one that you wrote, it could kind of work for the first graph. There's a little bit of overlap there. I would say it's kind of more like the second one, though, because it's a finished action, not necessarily one that has a lot of connection to the present. But all good sentences. Thanks, Sine. Mary has loved chocolate since she was a little girl. Perfect, Jose. And I worked as a software engineer since 2012. I've not been in the USA, don't forget that article, yet. But I would really like to go at least once. Excellent. So the first sentence is a great example of number 1. I wanted to call attention to that because it seems like there is a little overlap between graph number 1 and graph number 2, and I think some students don't totally understand how they're different. And as long as you can use it properly, you don't really need to. But Elizabeth's first sentence is a great example of that first graph. I've worked as a software engineer since 2012. I've not been in the USA yet, but I would really like to go at least once. And that one's cool because it's negative. That's our first negative example so far. And again, it's talking about an experience. All right, Sylvia's sentences. I've never liked eating meat. Awesome. That one, it's negative. Yeah, that one's a really good sentence, and I like that it's in the negative. If I had to match it to a graph, I would say it's the first graph, talking about an experience, the experience of liking something or not liking something. Some of these are kind of hard to categorize, though, and that's all right. We're just trying to categorize them to come up with easy ways to remember these situations, and it's not always clean. Number 2, I've just finished reading a really long and boring novel. Oh man, Sylvia, I know how you feel. I've been there before. Sometimes you just have to push through and then you're like, why did I waste my time? And that one's kind of like the second graph. And the last one, I've been sipping my soup for ages since it's too hot. Good, that one's like the third graph. I love it. And I've already started my PTO. Thanks, we got a little extra one there from Elizabeth. Now let me go over to the Verbling chat box. My screen will let me do that. For some reason it's not. You guys can still hear me okay, right? Let's get some confirmation. Vincenzo, can you hear me?
Yes, teacher, I can hear you.
All right, cool.
Yes, I wrote in the other chat box, teacher.
Vincenzo, go ahead and read yours because my computer's being kind of slow and it's not. I don't know if it's my computer or maybe it's my Google Chrome again, but go ahead and read yours, Vincenzo, and hopefully by the time you're done, I will be able to switch over to the other one.
Maybe they can copy and paste to the Google chat box.
If you're able to, that would be lovely. If not, we'll get there. Because I know not everyone has access to both chat boxes. All right, Vincenzo, are you ready to read yours?
Yes, wait 1 minute because I'm trying to catch echo. This is my, where is it? Now I've just made an example of the present perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
It's in this right moment. I've just made an example of the present perfect. I've studied English. Yes, not in order to say that it's possible to make in the right. I can say just in this moment, no. I have studied English since 2010. The other is since 2013. I've studied English and Spanish. Or I can say I've been studying English and Spanish during 3 years.
Oh, the teacher's gone.
Oh dear. But
Oh, she's back.
She passed away.
it's not yet finished. The lesson. What is it? Hello, teacher. I can't hear you, teacher.
We can't hear you.
Okay, teacher.
Teacher, we can see that you are moving, but we cannot hear you.
Hi, teacher.
Fingers crossed. Hello, Michaela. Please, working. Hello, teacher.
No.
Hi, teacher. Where is your sound, teacher? I'm muted.
No, we can't hear you.
Without voice. Perfect. Perfect.
Or try to reconnect your microphone.
Disappeared.
Try to unmute yourself, teacher. Push the red button.
It's muted. She's muted.
Yes.
I'm muted.
Yes. Perfect.
No.
Present perfect tense. Muted the teacher.
We have lost the teacher. Present perfect. Wow.
Yes. A quite tragicomic situation.
I wonder what has happened.
Anna?
What has happened?
Yes.
We have finished
Is
our
that
lesson since
in your
we lost
picture?
the teacher.
Anna, you have muted the teacher, Anna.
No, I didn't. Please don't make this
Anna,
kind
what
of
have you done?
accusation. I would never mute the teacher.
Oh, yes, I know. I'm joking. I know.
I know. I
Hi
know.
guys.
You
Can
you
you
are
hear
very
me
nice.
or not?
I like your smile.
So we have
I'm
to
going
go.
to share the teacher's presentation.
Vincenzo.
Maybe we can reconnect. Maybe if we reconnect, it would be possible that we can hear the teacher.
I hope we can.
Oh, listen.
Vincenzo.
See. Tell me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear.
Okay. Okay. I settled my microphone.
Yeah. But
Okay.
shall we try to reconnect all of us? No, oh no.
No, we'd better wait for her. I bet she's trying to get into the classroom again.
Yeah.
And I hope she can be able. Oh, here. Hi, teacher.
I think we have lost definitely our teacher.
How is it now?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
Thanks a lot for
Yeah.
that.
Well,
I'm gonna
We
rant
can help you.
welcome, teacher.
I blame
Welcome to the
Windows
class.
10 for
Welcome
this.
to class.
What's happening?
My Google Chrome has not worked as well. I installed Windows 10 onto my computer, and ever since I did that, my Google Chrome has been a little bit weird with classes, and a couple other things have changed, but I really don't like Google 10, or not Google 10, Windows 10, but now that's what I'm using. So anyways, back to class. Vincenzo, you have sentences.
Yes, it's very
and I
simple.
can see them and read them. This
So
morning I have had breakfast in a bar.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a good sentence. It's written fine, but I don't see why you would use the present perfect because it's really a simple past action. Something that happened once.
No. There's in this case we can. Must I use a past tense? Or no? Can I use?
I would say the simple past is better, unless you have a specific reason for using the present perfect, like.
No.
So simple past would be better in this particular instance, unless you wanted to make it like a type 2 graph, and you might be able to say something like, if someone says, you never eat breakfast at a bar, you might say, I've just eaten breakfast at a bar this morning. So you could, if the context was right, you could use it.
So do you think that it's not right to say this morning have you had breakfast in a bar?
That's not the most common way. I would use simple past for that most of the time, like 99% of the time.
I had breakfast in a bar. That's simple.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Since 2013, have studied English and Spanish. Yeah, I've been studying. This is a way to express to stress the action of study. I've been studying. Been studying English and Spanish during 3 years. Yes. This morning. But
And you have one more sentence?
because I would think that this morning, when I say this morning, I consider a period that's going till now, no? Sometimes
Well,
this
it depends
morning.
what time of day it is,
Yeah,
but
because
usually if
if
you're
I have
referring to the morning, it's probably the afternoon already. Otherwise, you would just say,
yes, because I'm saying this thing in the morning. Yes, no, I can say this when I am in the morning, but I have already had breakfast, no?
yeah, there are some situations where you could use that, like a type 2. Something that's finished, but very recently and connects to the.
Yes, yes.
All right, Vincenzo, you have one more sentence, right? What is it?
No, I have no more sentences.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, they were all good. Thank you. And Luca, you want to read us yours? You're
Yes.
fine. Your voice is back.
Yes. I'm still
Yay.
alive. Like you.
I know. Like, there's a problem. A lot of people had the same audio issues today. Go ahead and read us your sentences.
My first sentences is I study English since 2010, but I think I have missed the spot.
Looks all right to me.
I have studied English since I was a child, or I can say also I've studied English since 2010.
That one's
Does
a
it
good
make
one,
sense?
and using it in the progressive would also be a really nice way to use it.
Okay, so
So I've been studying English since 2010 would work really well. Depends on the context, though, of course. So both are fine.
yes. Okay. The second one is I've already finished. I have already finished my homeworks, and now I go out with my friends.
All right, nice sentence, but there is a problem. There's a problem. Does anyone see the small mistake made in this sentence aside from the winished? Or it's not that one, something else. Nobody sees it?
Finish my
Maybe
homework. No. Okay.
may I?
Yeah, what is it?
I guess he should use the past perfect instead, but I'm not sure. Is it? Or
No,
no?
it's fine the way it is because he's saying now I can go out. Past perfect would be if he was using the simple past.
Ah, yes.
Teacher, can you repeat his sentence again?
His sentence is, I have already finished my homeworks, and now I can go out with my friends.
I don't get the mistake.
It is a countable, non-countable mistake.
My homework is uncountable.
Yes, so no S on homework ever.
Ah, okay.
All right.
Common mistake, little things.
I have another on the Google chat box.
Okay, hopefully we'll get to them all, but I really have to end class in a minute because if I have to start the next one, I don't want my Google Chrome to be all crazy like last time. Okay, so let's go over. Ooh, we have a lot of chapters.
Okay. And the third one is we have lost the teacher.
Yeah. That's a good one though. It's very appropriate for the situation.
Yes.
Mine. Can I say mine?
Go ahead, really quick. Go ahead.
I have kept my fingers crossed because the teacher's connection has dropped twice in a row.
All right, that's a pretty good sentence, and it would be in a row, not roll, with a W. But I might even use the simple past for that one. I had my fingers crossed. It's okay the way it is, but simple past is also an option. Okay, so I've got to end, but I'm starting the next one right now, and the next one we're going to go over pictures and talk about our lives, and I'm going to show you guys a bunch of things that I've done in the past few years. We're going to talk a little bit about them. So I hope to see you all there, get to know you guys a little better, and yeah, thank you guys for coming and participating today and dealing with all the technical difficulties.
No,
I'll see you
no,
next time.
yes,
Ciao.
thank you to you,
See you
teacher.
soon.
See you next time. Bye.